My plan is to hide, to avoid, but if I get busted, if I get captured, I'm not going to do a Rambo, I'm going to do a Gandhi. If I get captured, I'm not going to do a Rambo, I'm going to do a Gandhi. If I get captured, I'm not going to do a Rambo, I'm going to do a Gandhi.
All right. Hey, everyone. Southern Poverty Law Center, as well as the FBI and the Department of Justice, wants you to believe those were the words of a domestic terrorist conspiring to murder federal officials. That is absurd. We need to free this man, and we need to do everything we can to make noise and shine light about his innocence. That's his address. I pray you write him a letter in prison. This particular video, first of all, if you go to whoframeschaeffercox.com and click on prison blog, Angela has done a tremendous job at arranging all of the blogs, the writings from Schaeffer while he's in prison. And as many of you know, Schaeffer is a very talented and gifted man in many different areas. And one of those areas is in writing. So he wrote an article on called Needles or Lions. And I suggest you go read that first. Stop the video right now. Go to whoframeschaeffer.cox.com. Click on prison blog. Scroll down. Maybe go to the second page. And at the top of the second page, you'll see this article called Needles or Lions. It's absolutely a phenomenal article. Schaeffer approached various prisoners and said, if you were on death row and had to be executed, would you rather die by lethal injection or would you rather die by fighting lions in an arena? He writes about the answers that he got and the implications of those answers. But there was an individual who wrote to Schaeffer in prison who was, I guess, touched by this article. I have not read it yet, but with approval of this individual, I am going to read the article. And I think there's an email address that I can share, but I don't have it memorized. So the email address that I can share, if you want to respond back to this individual with any comments on his response to Schaeffer's writing, I'll put it in the comment section, and you can take that email address and send him an email, and he'll reply back to you, I'm sure. But this is the article, or not the article, this is the letter that was written to Schaeffer, and Schaeffer, I guess, was touched by it and said, you might want to read this for everyone to hear. But we first had to get approval of the guy who wrote it. And so I did get approval of the guy who wrote it. And let's read it together. I have not read it, believe it or not. It's been so crazy around here, I haven't got a chance. But it's written to Schaeffer in prison. It was written on June the 6th of 2017. That was 10 days ago. And it says, Dear Schaeffer, I sent you a post office check for $17 to the USP lockbox. Feel free to buy some decent underwear. Jacob evidently wore sackcloth underwear, Genesis 37:34. So you're in some good company. Anyhow, I gathered that you might appreciate a review of Lions or Needles. At this time, I'm ready to react with a few comments. When I looked into something like Stephen's ministry, Acts 7:57, I perceived that God is using Stephen to impart the gospel unto Paul. In this sense, Stephen has, in being stoned, joined Jesus in the crucifixion. In this idea, I have inspiration through Ken Peters, Henry Groover, and Art Katz. In Romans 3, starting at Romans 3:23, there is no limitation of time given for the remission of sins that are past. So this is another verse showing that the gospel was foreordained and available before the birth of Jesus. The truth in the Spirit is that Jesus was slain from the foundation of the world, Revelation 13:8. So the crucifixion, death, and resurrection offer the ultimate settlement all the way back to Cain and Abel and the fall. The only real justice for the blood of Abel crying out from the ground is the blood of Jesus Christ, because the life is in the blood and Jesus is the life. In this era, it is plainly manifest that Adam's skin clothes and Abel's slain sheep and Seth and Shem were all already prophetic symbols of Jesus Christ. Adam has a hint of God's relationship with Israel and the church when Eve is made from his rib. Adam has to see the horror of the fall multiplying as though Eve and Cain were shards of a broken mirror that doesn't give a true image. Just imagine Cain walking to and fro like the devil, a vagabond wandering through the very city he founded. That anthill, the inhabitants being soulless, functional duplicates, each as replaceable as piston rods. In the injection part, the victim joins the devil. Excuse me. In the injection part, the victim joins the devil's whitewashed tomb city by consenting to his death, as if a suicide symbolized by his image projected into the mirror, superimposed on the audience. The reflection is true. The image is ugliness. Has the audience projected an evil will on the victim? In the lion's part, the reflection is false, a broken mirror. The bureau of the city is a serpentine sea, trying to force their will on an ark of martyrs. The narrator plays the part of Shem, the honorable son. I speculate that the 8 men become 7 men as per 1 Peter 3:20, 8 souls on the ark, that Shem succeeds as the de jure head, Genesis 9:27, of the original household against the pretender Nimrod, a son of Ham, the spiritual son of Cain, with all due gravity. All right, that was pretty deep. If you guys have any comments about what I just read, I'll put the email address that I was allowed to share, and you can reply back to this individual if this thing had any impact on you, or if you relate to it, or if you have questions. Please feel free to write to the author, and I will share the email address in the comments section. And in closing, we'll put a picture of Schaeffer back up. And in closing, the last line of peaceful defense between a tyrannical government and the defendant is jury nullification. Educate yourself about jury nullification at fija.org, Fija.org. Thank you.